directing to Alexi Steffen, and you are watching Eclectic Arts Media.
Because of the color green, not a lot of people choose it. I don't know why.
If I can walk out of the ring the way I walked into it, I'm happy.
Going to somewhere like that and playing those places that all those bands that you listen to.
I'm singing and I'm going, I'm not all by myself anymore.
Oh, whoa. Whoa.
I know.
I mean, I'm with me every day, all day. But no, I get it.
Even with editing, I get irritated. I'm like, but I get quite stubborn,
And he's sitting, okay, I believe you. So
the rest shall be revealed in time.
I think I forgot your question, but I went on a different path, but it felt great.
And I need to keep as much hair as possible because particularly in Hindley Street, no one's got hair. You'd fit right in, Mark. So
why didn't you give it to the police?
I needed to see it for myself.
Riley Brennan is now missing. She was last seen in Shelby Oaks.
There is a dark and deeply haunted history in the woods of Shelby Oaks. My sister isn't the first to go missing.
What's left in Shelby Oaks is death and rot.
Don't be afraid.
You should be proud of her.
Riley, please, baby. Hear me.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts Media, based here in Seattle, Washington. And thank you so much for joining me on this Thursday, the 16th of October, 2025. And let's get to things. My guest today first joined me back in 2021. She has always been a fun and informative guest. She is starring in the upcoming film Shelby Oaks, which opens on October 24th from Neon. Please welcome back to the Eclectic Arts Media virtual studio, Miss Camille Sullivan.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, hi Camille, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. I'm looking forward to talking about this film for sure. It feels like it's been almost like a long time coming because I've heard about your involvement in it, and eventually, things were starting to roll and Neon got involved, and now the day is here, a week from tomorrow.
Yeah, it has been a long time coming. I think we shot in 2022, I think.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Because when I was kind of getting ready for this interview, I'm like, I know she's mentioned it. We did one back in January of this year, but even last year, I think when we last talked or something, you were like, yeah, this one, I was a part of this and it's going to be coming out eventually. And I'm like, okay. And yeah, I started looking, that trailer looks scary.
Yeah, it is.
So for people that aren't aware of this film, which is, I'm not sure who those people are, because if you're in the horror community, you already know about this film. But like you mentioned, your involvement started a few years ago. So how did you get involved with this project?
Well, it was kind of an out of the blue thing. I got my agent got an email from with the script from Paper Street Pictures, the producers, and from Chris. And so I read it and I asked my agent, I'm like, are these people legit? I didn't know any of them. I'm like, don't send me, to Cleveland on something crazy. But she said they were good. So so I read the script. I thought it was great. I was really interested in the relationship between the two sisters, really grabbed me, and just the sort of the excitement of the mystery that unfolded. So I had a Zoom with Chris and we talked about it, and then I just kind of signed on and we went from there.
Okay, and I think I saw something that this film was shot in sequence. Is that correct?
Well, mostly, not completely, because it's impossible. It's impossible completely, but for the most part, yeah. He really tried to set the schedule that we went in chronological order, and it was so helpful for me.
Okay, and so it sounds like that was something that Chris intentionally was trying to do as much as he possibly could to have it chronological.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was doing that. I mean, it's a favor to actors for sure. Like, it makes my job a lot easier. There's a lot less to remember, a lot less going back. Like, okay, well, excuse me, sorry. Where am I, where am I now? Where did I come from? So it's like you have that. And then, if I change something, it doesn't mess it up later. You know what I mean? Like, if I change something now, then I can change it in the subsequent scenes. So, and for everyone on the crew, I think too, it makes it easier. I mean, and there's just less to remember. You know what I mean? You don't make a mistake in a scene that's going to be at the end of the movie, and then you're back at the beginning, like, how do I make up for that mistake that I shot 2 days ago?
Yeah, and something that you and I have talked about, and some of the other folks that I've had from the film community, that I'm just amazed that any film gets made ever. Because and to what you were just speaking to, most of the time they're not shot chronologically. So it's okay, we're going to start with scene 1, which might be like 3/4 of the way through the film, and you're like, I have to get into this headspace, and now we're going over here to where you first meet so and so, and it's kind of like, all right, this is how this works. And for the fans and viewers like myself, I didn't really realize that's how that worked until I started talking to folks, and they say, oh no, Mark, we don't shoot these things the way you see it most of the time. I wish we could, but it doesn't work out that way.
Yeah, most of the time you can't. It's just, locations or whatever, and you need to, and so it wasn't all completely like that, but for the most part it was. And that just, I mean, when you get to do that, it's great.
Okay, and and again, we've talked before, and you're a veteran. You've been doing this for decades, from film and TV work, and have definitely been in the horror genre before. How did you prepare for this particular character in this film?
For this one, because the film starts with my sister disappeared 12 years prior, I did a little research into people who had loved ones go missing. I watched some documentaries and some interviews and stuff like that. And I tried to sort of start from there, what that kind of loss with no, it's a different kind of loss, because when someone dies, there's a finality. So you're trying to come to grips with that finality. But when someone just disappears, they could still be out there, and what's happening to them. And so the open-endedness of it is kind of its own tragedy. It's really a heartbreaking scenario. So I started there, and then once the movie starts, then the movie sort of scoops the character up on that journey.
Okay, yeah, and without getting into details, I know from a personal experience what that's like when you don't have any kind of closure, when it's just like, what happened to this person? And then in my case, it was a couple months later down the road that I did get closure, which on one hand was nice to have it, but on the other hand, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that's what had happened. So that kind of hanging out in the wind to twist scenario is never good for anybody.
Yeah, it's a terrible place to be. It really is.
Yeah, for sure. So as you're approaching this, and with loss, and with your character's sister having been gone missing for a while, was this a film that did it tap into anything that you haven't tapped into before, with your lengthy career, in terms of scenarios or scenes that I haven't had to do this before on a project?
There was a lot. What was an interesting challenge to me was, because so much of Mia's journey is alone, and I have a lot of time spent on camera with my own thoughts or reacting to things that may or may not be there. I really had to think about how I was going to keep her active, and how I was going to keep her pursuing a goal through all this, so that she just didn't become overwhelmed by sadness and self-pity and become stagnant. You know what I mean? Which I think is the struggle of the actor, and also the struggle of the character. How do you keep going? How do you keep going? So for me, more probably than any other character I've done, I really made a specific point of keeping her active in every scene, making sure I knew what I was doing and why I was doing it, and making sure it was accomplishable.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a really interesting perspective about with your character having a lot of solo scenes and having to keep the I don't want to say energy moving, but basically it can't get to this point where the audience is kind of like starting to tune out, or maybe even not like the character, to a point where like I don't want to keep watching this. I don't care what happens down the end of this film. So that definitely creates a challenge for you as the actor. And I haven't had a chance to see a screener of the film, so I don't know the plots or details. So there won't be any spoilers, folks. Thankfully. But was this shot like on certain types of locations that are already creepy to begin with, or are they kind of like okay?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Well, Chris he's from Ohio. And so he had scouted out a lot of these locations before and made deals with them. So we shot in the prison where they shot the Shawshank Redemption, and like he knew them. He'd become friendly with one of the person who gives the tours there, because now they give tours in the day. And so we made a deal with them to shoot in that location for cheap, and as well as there's an abandoned amusement park that we shot in, which is real. It's just there. And so we were all on location almost entirely. There was a little bit that was made in a studio setting, but mostly it was all on location. And they were these incredible locations that Chris found that add so much depth and creepiness to the movie.
It already sounds creepy based on what you were just describing. Anything there's that authenticity of a real prison or a real carnival or some kind of dilapidated house that's actually there, wasn't created. For horror films, it totally adds to that atmosphere.
Oh yeah, totally does. And it makes it easier for me too, because then I'm in that environment, and so to be scared in an environment that's scary isn't that hard.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, I don't have to act as much.
Yeah, I can just kind of allow it to be there.
Wow, no, that sounds awesome. And I have to be completely honest. When I was looking through the credits and everything, I wasn't familiar with Chris. I know a lot of people are, and he's got a hugely popular YouTube channel. Was a big movie reviewer for a long time, and then as he got into the business himself, then he kind of shifted gears a bit, is my understanding, to kind of only review things that he felt like positive about, and didn't want to probably really not burn bridges, to be honest, which is smart. I mean, if you're going into an industry and you've been in this industry for a long time, that it's about connections, about people that you know, and if you're trying to move forward with something, 10 years down the road, hey, this character would be really great. I wonder what Camille's doing, kind of a thing. He doesn't want to burn that bridge, and neither do you, really. So, what was it like working? Because I believe this was his first feature that he's done.
Yeah.
Okay. What was it like for you working with the director when it was a first time feature?
I like working with directors on their first feature because it's kind of a unique opportunity, because it's the first one. It's their baby. It's what they've been dreaming about for years and years and years. And to actually have it, to be on set and be filming it, is already a dream come true. So it's really fun to work with somebody when they're having that experience. And then what was great about Chris is that he was so well prepared. Oh, my cat's getting up to mischief. I'll see if I have to discipline him. We'll see. He doesn't take to it. He was so prepared, and we'd had some delays before shooting, so there was more time. So he came in super prepared. I came in super prepared. And even though, stop it now. Here you go. I can get a look at my good looking cat.
Hey.
So even though, sorry, I lose my train of thought. Oh yeah. Even though he was super prepared, he was very open to my ideas too, and open to, like, I have been in the business a long time. So he also gave me that respect of someone who has worked a lot, and appreciated my concerns and really listened to them and really collaborated with me in a way isn't always the case, but is very satisfying when it is. And I think gets the best work.
That's great to hear that he was giving you that respect. And it'd be like, if I was in that position where I'm making a feature for the first time, I would try to listen to people that have been down the road I'm trying to go down.
Yeah, but people don't, because also you don't want to lose control. You're the director. You need to be in charge. And I get that. And you have your vision, but it's very nice when it's collaborative. And it really was.
That's cool. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I mean, you can only do so much before the inmates take over the asylum, kind of a thing. But, no pun intended. But it is nice when these people say, I do want to collaborate. I want to hear what you have to say. What are your ideas here? Maybe you have a different vision of how this could go, and maybe it'll be something better than what I thought in my own head. And that's a lot for a first-time director, to kind of take all of that in and figure out, this is what I want to do, but I'm also listening to you, and then here we go. But then that collaboration a lot of times can end up with the best results.
Yeah, I think so. And at the same time, too, everybody felt really valued. And not just me, but all the actors and all the crew, too. He treated everybody with respect, regardless of your position. And I think that, too, makes a better movie because everyone then feels like they're contributing to the movie. They're not just doing a job. They're not just whatever. This isn't important. It's all important.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like, and you know that I interview a lot of bands that they talk about when the crew says, that's my band on stage. And that's because they're proud that, hey, I had something to do with this, versus if there's issues backstage or with the touring crew, they're kind of like, they're off somewhere else. They're not even watching the band. They're, having a smoke, they're eating food or whatever. And they're like, this is just a job until I move to the next band. So it makes a huge difference when everyone feels really kind of like a family. In that sense.
Yeah, totally. I think, it does. And then everyone comes away, and when a movie then blows up like this, everyone's so proud. It's like, I put my heart and soul in this, and look what's happening. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I just saw somebody that I'd interviewed, who'd been in the music industry a long time, and she just posted on her social media about the very same thing, about putting your best foot forward, and you never know where something's going to lead. So you want to treat people the right way. And she said, look what happened to me. All these opportunities that came up for me to tour certain people, I didn't know who they were or anything, but because of this gig over here, and they liked how it went, then that got me this one, and got me this one, got me this one. And so Chris is doing the right thing then about creating this nice environment for everybody to work on and feel like they're being valued. And then hopefully it shows up in the product.
Yeah, and it does. And also, I think then when he goes on to do his next movie, whatever that'll be, anybody who's worked with him before he'll ask them, and they'll be like, yeah, I'm down. Put me in. I want to work with you again.
That's probably the biggest compliment you could pay him. That you say, you know what? Yeah, I'm there. I don't care what it is. I don't care what the film's about. Just send me the script and off we go. Because that means there's a level of trust there that's been built.
Yeah, there definitely has. Yeah, anything he wants to do, if he wants to put me in it, I'm there.
Well, it's even kind of like for me on the media side, doing these interviews, I've always talked about guests wouldn't come back if they had some sort of issue with me. If I was a creep or I was rude or I was being really negative, they'd be like, I'm not talking to that guy again. Why would I? It's a waste of time.
No, for sure.
His bald head, I just can't look at it anymore. I don't want to deal with this. But that's why I'm always so grateful when guests like yourself do come back, because I know how you are, you know how I am. The newness is gone, and you kind of know how I approach my business. So and vice versa. So I always like to ask this, since I grew up with horror films, that and there's a part in that new trailer that I played earlier where you're screaming, and surprise, in a horror film that you have to scream. Have you done anything since you've had, those scenes in many different projects over the years, where you have a different take on how you're going to scream in that scene, or maybe Chris has some input of what he was looking for certain things in the movie?
Yeah, the screams are always different for me, because the scream's all about what he's, where's it coming from and why are you screaming, right? So for me, a scream of being startled will be totally different than a scream of a slow realization. You know what I mean? So I try to make them just as specific as I can. I don't know how it's going to sound when it comes out on the day, but I try to make the impetus for it and what my mind is processing as I'm screaming as specific as possible.
Okay, and for Shelby Oaks, was there any particular scene when you had to do like several takes of screaming?
Yeah, there were lots. There were lots. I screamed a lot. Yeah, and it's really a leap of faith in those scenes, right? You can't really prepare a scream. You can prepare what the scene's about and what you want in the scene, but the actual emotion and the sound of the scream is kind of just, you got to just kind of open your mouth and let it come out from somewhere deep inside. And then you get that scary scream, I think. If it's not coming from some kernel of real fear, it's going to sound real stupid.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, no, that as you're describing that makes sense. That it's like you have to go all in, and you got to find that kind of spot within your soul or your being that's like, this is, if I was going through this is what would come out of my mouth. And the audience picks up on that for sure. If someone's just kind of like doing the screen for the 30th time, and you could tell they didn't go there. It sounds like a sound effect at that point, which is never the effect that you want for a horror film.
Yeah, and it's really tough for an actor too to just scream. If you don't really believe it, you feel pretty dumb. It feels pretty ridiculous. So the scream has to be more important than your embarrassment of it.
This is just me being purely curious. Is it equally the same approach, like if you have to scream versus if you have to cry in a scene?
Yeah, it's sort of the same. It's like you don't know. I mean, the difference is for screaming, it's something that's scripted, right? Like scream. So you're going to scream. You have to scream. For crying scenes, they sometimes script cries, but I always cross that out because I feel like that's something I'll cry when it's appropriate, and that'll come naturally or it won't come, and that's okay too. Screaming is something, it's like walking or doing, or you have to do that action, whereas crying for me feels like more of a thing that comes about naturally, or it doesn't, but it doesn't need to be there because you can communicate it other ways.
Okay. I love getting the insight from an actor of your caliber with that kind of thing, because I have no clue when it comes to that. But it does make sense that with the crying that you want it to be more organic, and I don't need to do that to convey this emotion in this particular scene.
Yeah, you can get trapped, where it's like, she drops a single tear, they'll write in the script or something. And it's like, oh my God. And then you're trapped in the scene, and now you're thinking, and now's when I drop that tear. So then you don't want to play the whole scene going, okay, did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, again, if I use like a music analogy, that would be like if you have to hit a certain spot on stage when you're like playing a live show. It's like, certain places there's flames coming up, you don't want to be in danger, but other than that, they don't say during this song, 3 minutes in, Mark, before the guitar solo, stand here. Like, no, if I'm naturally over here, then why would I rush back over here? That looks stupid. But I do know, like with Shelby Oaks, that you've had the chance to, it's been making premieres around really the world and places, and you've got a chance to attend. And so what's it been like just hearing the reactions from audiences when they get to see this thing live on screen and you're there in person to watch and take in that whole vibe?
It's been pretty great. Our audiences have been really dialed in, and like both the experience of having the dead quiet when nobody's moving, nobody's wrestling, just eyes are on the screen. And then also the audible gasps, like, and then the nervous laughter sometimes that you really get with horror, especially. So I feel like audiences are really digging it. And what they're telling me when they come out is they find it scary, and they were afraid.
Well, mission accomplished then. Yeah. Yeah, if you come out of a horror film, you're like, that was not very funny or very scary, I should say. Then you're like, it wasn't? Yeah. Oh, shoot, we missed the mark somehow. And me, again, having this kind of random mind, when they're doing screenings like that with live audiences and cast and crew happen to be there, do they make people put their phones away like for good? I mean, that's been an ongoing problem in theaters.
I didn't notice that they did anything in particular, although I didn't see anybody sneaking their phone out. But no, I think, other than just like silence your phones.
Okay. All right. I mean, anytime I've gone to a film in the last probably 2 years, somebody's got their phone out at some point, not to film the film, but they're looking at something, but they got
it's annoying. Yeah.
And the screenshot, the light comes, and you're like, what the heck's going on over there? And,
I'm not a fan of that in particular.
Yeah, no, and neither am I. It's like, you know what? You're not at home. Just disengage for 2 hours from your device and, pay attention to the film. That's why you're here. And if you want to sit there and spend half the time on your phone, just stay at home.
Watch it at home. You can also watch it at home if you want to be on your phone, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's got to be, again, there's so much buzz about this film. And it sounds like rightfully so. It sounds like it was a great project for you and a great experience, which is always, wonderful to hear. I don't want to hear that someone said, "Oh, Mark, that film was." Yeah, that film was a nightmare. I had a guest on recently that I thought things had worked out well between her former band and herself, and it turns out they didn't. And so, talk about awkward.
Oh, band breakups can be so bad. Or it can be just as bad as a marriage.
Yeah, and it seemed like everything was good and everything, through social media from both parties, the way they kind of framed their departures and all this. And that's the thing, outside of her native country, she's most known for that band. So I'm like, okay, the people that are tuning in that were in the chat, they're like, I want to ask all these questions. And I'm like, oh, I wonder.
I wonder if that's awkward now.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't ask that question or combine all of them into one question. And it's like, I thought I did my due diligence, but in that one, I came up short.
Oh, wow.
But so with Shelby Oaks, and it's finally here, and like we've talked about this before, for some people, they don't realize that, sometimes a film gets made and for whatever reason, it doesn't find distribution. It just sits on the shelf, sometimes indefinitely, which is really, sad to hear. But with this film, and maybe this is something more Chris could speak to, but when Neon got involved, did they require any kind of reshoots or anything else that they wanted to see with the film?
Yeah, we did do some reshoots. They didn't require it, but I guess what happened is they saw the original cut of the film and they thought it was great. And they were like, we want to buy it. So they bought it, but then Chris sent them their original script. And they saw some scenes in there that didn't make the final cut of the movie. And so they were just kind of going like, did you not include these because you decided you didn't want them, or what was the reason? And he's like, money and time, basically. So they're like, well, if you had a little more time, you had a little more money, would you still want to do it? And he's like, yeah, I would. So last March, we did 3 days of reshoots, just to clean up a few things, add some gore, add some more effects and that kind of things, the stuff that money and time buys you. And so that has made it a better film for sure. It was already great, but now it just has that extra pump to it.
Okay, that's actually one of the best scenarios a director could get then when a distributor comes and says, hey, do you want...
Yeah, more time, more money. Yes, please.
Yeah, I really wanted to shoot those scenes, and now I can. So, and Mike Flanagan's involved with this film as well on the production side of things. Did you get a chance to meet him and anything in your interactions with him?
We met when the first cut of the film went to Fantasia Film Festival in Montreal. So I met him there for the first time. Although when I did the movie Hunter x Hunter a few years ago, he had put something out on Twitter that was just, complimentary of my performance. And that was really nice. So we exchanged a couple nice messages then. And then I met him, and he's just everything that you hope he would be, just like a generous soul, a kind man, generous with his time and his enthusiasm. And you can see how much of an effect he has with Chris, but not just with Chris, with a lot of people in the community, bringing them up, because he's become established. He's using his name to help bring up other filmmakers. And that's amazing.
That is amazing. And that's great to hear. It kind of, for me, goes into that don't meet your heroes thing. But in many cases like this, it's like, no, do meet your heroes.
Do meet your heroes. Sometimes they're great. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been really lucky, knock on wood, that a lot of the heroes I've met, if not all of them, have been really wonderful people. And it's great to hear that about Mike. I don't know all of his catalog. I mean, he's done so many different projects and so many different things, but with him and also with Chris, and like you said earlier in this interview, that everything was really a positive. It sounded like just everything just worked with this project.
Yeah, something happened with this movie where everything came together. To sometimes, it was a small movie with a small budget to start, mostly funded on Kickstarter. And then to have it blow up like this it's a dream. I mean, it's kind of the movie dream.
Yeah, and something that, as we're getting ready to wind this down, we've talked about like the horror / like pop culture convention circuit, and you have so many films in your background, including this one. It sounds like that. I think you're going to be like in high demand if that's something you choose to do.
I would do that. Yes, please send me offers. I will do that.
We have a big one that just started last year, and the second year is next weekend down here. That's got 3 days of horror-related actors and people coming, including Cassandra Peterson, who plays Elvira and all that. And I'm like, how come people haven't asked Camille to start doing these? Because again, you've got so much stuff. And then again, this one's really probably going to stick you way front and center with a lot of the horror community. That's like, hey, come meet Camille Sullivan at such and such a place and all that.
I hope so. I'd love to do that. I think it sounds super fun. Nobody's asked me yet, but maybe after this.
Well, the people at least that I know down here, I need to start sticking something in their ear then.
Yeah, I think you
like,
should. Get on.
You know, this one in October is already happening, but there's another one in May, so you got plenty of time to start working.
All right, May it is.
Yeah, Camille, thank you so much for taking the time. And again, folks, Shelby Oaks is opening on October 24th here, so that's a week from tomorrow. And I wish you all the success with this film, Camille. And it sounds like you don't need my wishes. That's already going to happen.
Thank you so much. I'll take them anyway.
All right. Have a great day up there.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.